Hi, I'm Memphis. I'm a full-time futures trader and I've done over $300,000 in prop firm payouts. And in this video, I'm going to give you the full $0 to $300,000 in prop firm payouts roadmap. How I actually did it phase by phase, and next to it, what I do differently today to get there in half the time. Here's how this is going to work. Proof first, as always. Then phase 0 to phase 4. My real journey on one side, the faster path on the other. And at the end, the path I'm engineering right now, today, live. So, proof first. These are just a few of them, but you add it up and you quickly see he's over $300,000. This is $50,000 with E8. This is over 10K with funded pips. This is $100,000 on top steps, new dashboard. I've done about 30,000 to 50,000 on their old dashboard. This is $95,000 between Lucid and Tradeify. This is not including my payouts with Alpha, which is over 5 figures, not including my payouts with Funding Next, which is over multiple 5 figures. So you start to do the maths and you quickly find out, it's completely over it. Phase 0, my background. And honestly, I had nothing on paper. No finance degree, no certificates, no internship. But what I did have was a mathematical brain. And I had a no quitting mentality. It says I started out with Forex, but in reality, I started with binary options. If you don't know what binary options is, it was basically, you would have price here, and you'd basically say in 2 minutes, is price going to be higher or lower? And if I am correct, so if dollar CAD was higher in 2 minutes than where current price is, when I clicked call, then I'd make 86% on my $1, £1 investment. And this was simply the platform. It was a very interesting time. An old friend of mine really ignited a flame in me. You hear about the man who ran the 4-minute mile and how once he ran the 4-minute mile, the first man who did it, so many people started to run a mile in under 4 minutes. And this is an example of that. An old friend of mine ended up turning $100 to $1 million in a demo account with binary options. And he did it within a few hours. And as soon as he did it, I did it as well. And unfortunately, I don't have enough screenshots to really show you that I was able to do, but we was, as you can see, just absolutely destroying it on the minutes. Then I was introduced by a family member. That family member really pushed me to Forex, which started the flips. And this was one of my craziest flips. And I did one a tiny bit crazier. But I was young and naive, right? I didn't understand the value of money. I'm seeing 5K, and even though I've never had 5K in my own bank account, I'm not exiting the trade, right? Instead, what do? We take a screenshot of the trade so we can have it in memory rather than actually closing the trade. Every trade in those days. One thing about me though, I never stopped learning and improving. No matter where I went, no matter how many times I had issues and errors in my way, I just never stopped learning. It was a consistent moving. And how I started in all this, I was using my salary to fund trading. Even though I was extremely young, I was working any job realistically. And commonly back then, I was a waiter and I was just funneling all that money while still going to school, etc., funneling all that money into trading. This is my background. This is what I use to accumulate. So as you can see, it's nothing crazy, right? It's proof that a normal person can start to accumulate a decent income through trading because it's nothing super. Yes, mathematical brain. I was excelling at school. I'm not going to act like I was a C student. No, I was an A student, science, maths, etc. But in terms of degrees and all of these things, it's not something I have in my repertoire. Phase 1, my first payout. 2023, as you can see, $4,000. Not bad. I was trading CFD prop firms and I had a very complicated system. There was so many moving parts. It had about 12 moving parts, and in reality, trading only needs about 3 moving parts. I was still very outcome driven and it was heavily impacting my performance because I was just so invested in changing my life, so invested in helping my family mentally, and I couldn't separate that and I couldn't push that energy at this time into the right thing. All that energy that I wanted to use to change in my life, in reality, I should have been pushing all of that energy that I was accumulating and putting it into focusing on the process. Every blow up I had, and I had multiple, I spent weeks or months on break. I kept stopping and starting after bad periods. Do not do this. Do not, whatever you do, stop and start, especially for multiple weeks or months. It's not necessary. Take all the information you have. What's the mistakes you're currently making? Break everything down. What can you change about your environment to increase the likelihood that you don't make that mistake again? This is what you need to do. You don't stop and start for long periods. The long periods ain't helping you. Now, as I said, it took me a while. I made $4 grand. And then I blew it all trying to scale way too quickly. I was like, everyone keeps saying reinvested payouts. I reinvested all of that stuff, blew it all in challenges. It was not ideal. Imagine you go from your first payout, excited, hyped, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's all gone. This is what you should do. Don't trade CFDs, trade futures. Why? It's scalability. You can scale way quicker. The feeds also are all the same across the board. So if you wanted to copy trade, this also helps massively. And also future firms are more accommodating to copy trading. Also trade a very simple strategy. I've broken down it in another video, in a prior video, but we'll speak about it now. One simple strategy. You have a candle here, maybe the hourly candle, daily candle, etc. We have the high of the candle, we have the low of the candle. At the right time, you wait for price and you see it takes the high or the low, and then it changes structure and sells. It's some form of accumulation, compression, purge, manipulation, liquidity sweep, and a change in structure. So when I say all your system needs is three things, it's not these three things exactly, but what your system needs is time. Then you need liquidity, and then structure. Just gonna write S for structure. S/BOS. And momentum. And these are the three things you realistically need to have a successful system. You do not need some complicated system in this trading space. One setup, one window, and just one account. We spend $100 on a $50,000 account. At this point, we should only be caring about $50,000 accounts. We do not need anything else. $50,000, we'll spend $100, use code MEM. We'll use $100 and we'll turn this $100 to $1,000. We're not caring about max payout of $2,000 because at this point, you've made no money from trading. Take what you can. I'm not saying to act broke, but freaking hell, like if you haven't made money from this game, at least jump over that hurdle. In order to pass a $50,000 account, you've got to make $3,000 without losing $2,000 with the trailing drawdown. It's a 1 to 1.5 in terms of the risk to profit and what you have to do. Now, in order to now withdraw, we're not even going to aim for 3K. We're not going to aim for 4K. We're going to aim for 2K, less than what you did to pass, meaning it should increase the likelihood that you actually are able to withdraw. And if you do this successfully, you've now successfully turned $100 to $1,000, which is very great. The target is 1 to 2K. That's the target. Once you've hit this target, withdraw half, we go again, and use your own daily loss limit. Let's say your goal is to risk $400 in the funded stage. Tell yourself, look, I don't mind if I take 15 trades today, but as soon as I've lost $400, I'm stopping. That's a very solid rule. You're not limiting your upside, you're limiting your downside. However, of course, 15 trades is relatively aggressive. I don't know your system, but this is just an example. Don't stop and start after bad periods. Essential, do not stop and start, especially for not longer than 1 week. In reality, 3 days, the weekend should be enough. Go for a walk, go swim, go get your head right, get a note and pad, lock yourself in your room, write exactly what you did wrong and exactly what you need to change about your environment. This is not just what you know you need to do. Now, what can I change about my environment that increases the likelihood I do not do this again? That is what you need to be thinking. It's not about just telling yourself things to do in which you already tried not doing and it didn't work. You need to actively change your environment so the likelihood that you repeat the mistake ends up being zero. Zero to your first payout. Trade futures, $50,000 account, aim for $1,000 to $2,000 profit on the funded stage. $400 isn't a bad risk if you've got a high win rate. This is a very, very simple system and it works. Yes, there's a few little tweaks within structure, understanding momentum, understanding actual liquidity, its significant liquidity, etc. However, the system works. Use your own daily loss limit. Hedge funds, okay? Do you think a hedge fund trader can lose all of his millions in a single day? Do you really think someone who trades for a hedge fund can lose everything in a single day? He cannot. You shouldn't as well. That was my first payout, what I did and what you should do. My first 5-figure month was just shy of $50,000 and it was with E8. Proof. Within the same month, huge payouts. We thank God. My first 5-figure month was just shy of it. And in reality, I'll be honest, if it wasn't for E8's consistency rule at the time, I wouldn't have profited this. These were on a 400K account. The whole idea behind the 400K account, like, you don't need to make a high percentage, but you end up making a lot of money. This payout, not more than 10%. This payout, 5%. Yes, in a month, it was great gains in a month. Don't get it twisted. especially with consistency, percentage-wise, it's nothing insane. I had patchy results here and there because the emotion that was here, that was impacting my performance, was still impacting my performance here. It was about 6 weeks, I say a month, but it was about 6 weeks of solid trading that brought me the $50,000 with a good product and a trusted firm. They'd had multiple six-figure payouts, multiple people who had made so much money with this firm, and it's proved to me that the path I was on was correct. I had a few payout denials, and I said patchy results, and this is just proof of the patchy results. Payout here, payout there, payout here. Because I was so focused on strategy, my strategy was nearly there, but it wasn't exactly where it needed to be. And there was so many times still where I didn't take the payout that was right in front of me, and it ended up costing me a lot. One that was significant to me, I was trading E8. This was my first experience of trading drawdown, and I had 11K in an account that I could withdraw. And imagine, this 11K at the time was more money I had in the bank. At this point, I was in debt. I'm being completely honest. This was November 2024. At $11,000, there was trailing drawdown. If I withdrew all this $11,000, I'd lose the account. No more account for Mr. Memphis. So what did Mr. Memphis decide? He decided that he should make more money because if I only withdraw 5K, then I've got 5K left, but it's not a 10K payout. But I could just withdraw the whole 11K and choose purposely to lose the account, but I didn't. I said to myself, let's aim for about 18K balance, then withdraw about 10K and then leave the rest so I can have a machine to keep making me money. This is incorrect. Why? That 11K was more money than I had. I should have withdrawn the money. I was so focused on strategy, I didn't stop to think the model in which I chose to trade in, they had a way to beat the game. Because there's two sides to this. There's trading and there's props, and you have to beat both. But in reality, beating the prop is more important than beating trading. Because this isn't live trading. And if you keep treating it as live trading, the speed to success is going to take slower. Yes, you need to be a good trader. Yes, there's a lot of things that intertwine with being a good trader and impacting your prop results. But in reality, there's so many things in which need to be focused on that isn't even about the strategy. Imagine, at the beginning of the month, I was in debt about 6K, okay? $6,000 approximately I was in debt. And in a single month, I was up multiple 5 figures. Multi-5 figures I was up. Imagine, I was ecstatic. Straight away I went to Italy. I went to Italy straight away. I was excited. This is life. Now, your first 10K, still use future prop firms and get about 5 to 10 accounts. So it's the same thing. You just made $1,000 on one account. Now instead of making $1,000 on one account, you're gonna make $1,000 on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 accounts, and you get this $1,000 2 times in a month. I already passed 10K, okay? And $1,000 on a bunch of accounts multiple times in a month. Most people, they lose accounts. Most people don't make it to payout. So now you've got an account with $2,000. Don't start thinking, oh, I can now withdraw now 2K instead of withdrawing 1K, because this allows you to withdraw 2K, 50% of your max. This allows you to withdraw 1K. Don't think about pushing for this. Just keep taking the easy money. Yeah, they'll move you live. But by that point, you've already made 20 grand, 30 grand, 40 grand. You've already done it. Take the easy money, take the payout. So many people don't make money in this game. And if you're consistently able to 3x your money, 4x, 5x, ask anyone running a business. If they can consistently 3x, 4x, 5x, 10x their money, would they change what they're doing? No, they just keep running the model. And I'll tell you right now, do not copy trade. It's a psyop. I say this as someone who's made money copy trading. I've made over $50,000 in a single month copy trading, and I am telling you, do not copy trade. We're going to explain in phase 3 and phase 4. There's 2 reasons. One, it will help you avoid tilts. If you're trading so many accounts, all risking the same amount of money, then you lose. This will impact your psyche. All your accounts are now in a loss. Maybe you was about to get a payout. You needed one more trade. Now all your accounts took an L for a day. Imagine instead, you took one loss on one account. Another account took a minimum day. Another account took a loss. 3 of your accounts are ready for payout, and you don't need to tilt because you've just made money. To avoid it, do not copy trade. Things we can copy trade, minimum days. We can copy trade minimum days. But this is still not all your accounts. This is when you've got quite a lot of accounts. You probably got at least 10 to 15 accounts, but still not all your accounts on minimum days. You still don't want to have all your accounts on the same trade. It heavily impacts your performance, your tilt, but also takes away something that's so special and unique to prop firms in which we need to exploit. Many small payouts beats one hero payout. If you're able to consistently take money, what have you built? You built a process, you've built a system. And these two words are extremely important because that means you can do it again and again and again. Infinite amount of times you've built a model, a repeatable model, which is extremely important. So this is phase 2, how you get from your first payout to $10,000 a month. Stick with futures. Start to think about accumulating more accounts. 2 prop firms, max allocation is all you needed. You still only need $50,000 accounts, which are some of the cheapest accounts out there. And you take those accounts to $2,000 in profit, and then you take half of it. And you do that about twice in a month, and there's a high chance you would have made $10,000. And you don't copy trade to avoid tilt. You use the system I've already taught you, and you still are using the daily loss limit on all accounts. These are the things you need to do. Focus about taking an account to a point where it can take payout, then take the payout without hesitation. Always take the maximum a firm allows you to take at any given time. It's all about the plan. By the time you're ready for payout, that payout should be significant enough so that by the time you withdraw it, the amount that's left in your account is still enough to keep growing. It's extremely important. Phase 3, $10,000 per month to $100,000 in payouts. For me, I started monitoring futures because around this time in 2025, so many people was having 6-figure months with Top Step alone. This was like, from my point of view, this was the height of futures trading. Absolutely insane numbers that I was seeing month by month by multiple traders. So of course, I'm looking where the money's flowing. CFDs, I ain't seeing this kind of consistency across so many different traders, all in the same freaking month, making so much money. So I'm looking at them, staring at them, and I'm like, I need to crack this. And I'll be honest, I tried cracking this at the end of 2024 on trailing drawdown. I couldn't figure it out. My strategy wasn't still optimized for the trailing drawdown. It wasn't optimized for futures. But I started to really learn the space and understand what I would need to do to adapt my system. And literally everything felt easy once I cracked the futures game, futures prop game. And at this point, I began my prop trading operation. It was the beginning, but it's when I started to realize there's commonalities. I was looking at all the big traders here, and what I wanted to see was the commonalities. I couldn't care about their strats, but what I did care about was the attributes. And what about the attributes did I care about? How frequent was they trading? What is their risk to reward? The times they was trading, how often they was trading. These are the kind of things I wanted to see. How often was they actually trading in order to accumulate the results? Where some people, they would clearly start the month up with 0 accounts or maybe a few evals, and then all of a sudden they're having a stupid crazy month. Yes, market conditions can impact this, but when you're seeing so many traders do this again and again and again, there's always something you're not seeing. There's a knowledge gap. You've got to understand, if someone's making 10K a month and you're not, there's a knowledge gap. Yes, maybe work ethic, but usually a knowledge gap. So I really went into the attributes of all these traders. And that's when I really started tweaking my system and really understanding that it's more than a strategy. There's a prop trading operation. There's risk protocols. There's all these other attributes to the entire model, to the entire ecosystem of prop trading that I wasn't even accounting for. And me learning this, it really helped me push towards these kind of numbers. And this is just on their new dashboard. Top Step have 2 dashboards. They're all dashboard. I've done between 30 to 50K on there. So this is how I did it. I just literally focused on Top Step. I was like, I want to crack this. People keep making money and it's fast money. I'm not going to act like the speed didn't intrigue me. You look at the CFD space and the quickest you could get a payout realistically was 3 weeks to a month. No, E8 was the quickest. Hence why I kept trading E8. From the time you buy an account to the time you get a payout, it was the quickest. All the other ones, it's about a month. But E8, you could do it in about 2 weeks. You're sitting on 5 figures. The other ones, that's not a possibility. So that's why I started focusing so much on futures, because it's so clear to me, you can have no accounts today and in 7 trading days have 5 figures in your bank, which is absolutely insane. So that's why I really started focusing on futures. Now, what you should do, and we're talking about doing this under 6 months. This whole entire thing is teaching you how to go from 0 to $100,000 in payouts in under 6 months. Why? Because you can just stay in phase 2 for 10 months. You can just keep doing this again and again and again for 10 months and you'll eventually get there. So why go to phase 3? It's because we want to do another 6 months from the first time you have 10K a month. What we're going to need, we're going to increase the amount of prop accounts we're trading. And with more prop accounts becomes more issues, more money, more problems, right? So you can trade them at one time to batches of 3. Why do I say to batches of 3 now? Because at any given time, you're risking 10% of your portfolio. You've got 30 accounts, you trade in batches of 3, you're risking 10% of your portfolio of accounts, not drawdown, just of your accounts that are at risk of you doing something stupid and tilting like you've been doing. Now, the thing is, in order to ensure that you're not being impacted by tilt, and to ensure that your variance, and it's something we're going to get into, the word might mean something to you, might not, but to ensure your variance is extremely low, we have to keep trying to not trade all your accounts at once, especially the ones where we're trading normal risk. Whatever normal risk is to you, whether that's 20% of your account, 10% of the account, whatever normal risk is to you, you just reduced it. I really want to go into this. Risk from the portfolio level, not the account level. Let's say your normal risk is $100 on an account. So you usually risk $100 on an account. Now, if you have 20 accounts, you're risking $2,000 at a time. Now, this is risking per account, not per portfolio. You're not looking at it from a portfolio perspective and being creative. You're looking at this from an account perspective because all your accounts are trading the same risk, same trade, etc. So now, to emulate this scenario, but from an account perspective, you can trade 2 accounts, right? And you can trade 2 accounts with $1,000 each. So now you're risking the same amount here, only 2 accounts are at risk. This is extremely important because you're reducing how much capital is at risk in so many different ways, but not just that. Let's say this 2K that you're risking, maybe these 2 accounts go on a losing streak. You've got another, remember, this is 20 accounts. You've got another 18 accounts that aren't on losing streaks, that haven't taken a loss. This is very good because now maybe 5 of these accounts are on winning streaks, while 2 are on losing streak. And then maybe another 7 of these accounts are doing minimum days. You're just trying to look for $150 a day. You don't need anything else, right? It's already ready for a decent payout. And then maybe another 6 of them are in a different risk model because you've taken multiple payouts, for example. This is extremely likely. This can only happen if you're not treating all accounts the same. If you're reducing your impact, rather than all accounts being on a losing streak, you've got a few accounts on a winning streak, a few accounts ready for payout, and a few accounts already had a payout and they're in a different risk model. This is the kind of setup you need to win. Realistically, I should freaking stop recording this video, delete it, because this is absolute gold. And I want to tell you this, you just started making money. We've just explained how to go from 0, no payouts, to multiple payouts, $100,000 in payouts in under 6 months. Your very early stages, have no ego. As quickly as you've made it, you can lose it. You're still a student to the game forever. You will have to accept you will make mistakes. So you have to account for the fact that you will make mistakes. This is by using the daily loss limit. This is by not trading all accounts at the same time. Because maybe that's the trigger for you. Maybe you making a mistake is a trigger and that triggers you to lose control. And if you lose control on 2 accounts, you've still got 18 accounts. It's very important because we don't want our profit to look like this. Absolutely not. Now, this is the stage I'm in. I'm gonna do some few payouts. Now, I've had a decent month, my best month, but with a high variance scaling model. Why? Because I'm trading all of them at the same time with high risk. In order to hit this with low variance, variance is the enemy. Variance is data dispersion. It's how spread your data is. So if every given month, you can have a very big month, then a very bad month, then a very big month, then a very bad month, then a very... This is high variance. Very, very high variance. Why? Because the data is very spread. We want this to be as tight as possible, right? We want it to be like this. And the beauty of the prop game is that it's a different to live trading because we can engineer a smooth month-to-month revenue curve with little drops due to not copy trading. How does this look? We are now trading 150K accounts. Why are we trading 150K accounts? Because we're increasing our average payout. That's why we go to 150K accounts. 50 plus accounts. Yes, this is why at this stage, what trade frequency really matters and having multiple strategies really matters. At this point, yes, you could up it to batches of 5. You need elite level account management and account tracking. We aren't going to lose accounts due to inactivity, right? This is novice. We are treating this like a proper business. This is how you do it. This is exactly how you're able to get here, not on some fluke, but you get here in a way in which is completely repeatable because you've reduced variance. Now with this model I've explained, you don't even need that crazy of a system in order to actually attain it. You just need a very solid system that's extremely repeatable, that has just a slight edge on the market. And then with a proper prop operation, you have the prop op. Call this the prop op. You're able to scale to this. This is how I got to over $100,000 in profits. It was a hell of a journey, and this is what I would do this time. Purely futures. One account initially, scale, not going for max payout, focusing on 3 to 4x returns, not trading all accounts at the same time to help variance. So our P&L curve can look like this in every given month. The prop space, it's a business. We're running a business. It's not the same as live trading. And the ways to get ahead quickly is to acknowledge this and to exploit it. So here's what you should do. Identify what stage you're at. Have you had your first payout? Are you making 10K? Have you already hit $100,000 in payouts? Identify your exact stage. Because this, as soon as you're able to do this, you're able to correctly scale. Because you're able to implement the right thing at the right time. Identify your biggest strength and weakness. So my biggest strength at all times was my mathematical brain and my inability to quit, right? I just kept going. My weakness, I'd say I had two main weaknesses, which was very clear. One was I was too outcome driven for too long and I wasn't pushing that drive energy to being focus driven rather than outcome driven, because that's the small switch you need to make. And that was a weakness of mine. The additional weakness in which why it took me long was I kept taking breaks. If I took less breaks, I would have seen success quicker. Don't just focus on your strategy. Prop firm trading is more than just your strategy. Yes, you need the right strategy for prop firms, but the prop firm game is way more than just having a good strategy. So the quicker you can focus on your prop up, the quicker you're going to scale. And then optimize for prop firms. We want to reduce variance as much as possible. We want it to be as low as possible. We have this ability to do this while optimizing for prop firms. So we want to reduce our variance, optimize for not just your strategy, but also a prop firm operation, identify your strengths and weaknesses and understand what stage you are at, because this will help you scale. Look, and if you're serious about compressing your timeline, there's a link below in the description if you want to work with me and get mentored by me. Like, subscribe, and comment where you are and the struggles you're facing at your current stage.